Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and today we're going to be looking at the three areas that my guild is trying to decide where to focus, and kind of showing you where, your focuses could be done in terms of as you progress your game, as you progress in this game, as you progress your account, you start realizing that to increase your rewards, you have to make certain decisions. And so my guild right now is kind of balancing between should we focus on increasing our score in the speeder bike raid? Should we be focusing on getting more territory battle stars? Or should we say, screw the stars, screw the raid, and let's focus on being able to complete special missions outside of the Braca one to get to Zepho, right? Because that one should be on almost everybody's radar as you're getting into Rise of the Empire. That one and the Riva mission to me are two like very key battles that I think you want to be focused on getting there as soon as you can. So let's dive into the video. Let's talk about these. We're going to look at the pros, the cons, and kind of what my advice would be for my guild and where I want to head. First and foremost, though, let's thank the channel members for all of their continued support. Again, if you're interested in joining, this is linked down below. These guys get priority during roster reviews, and they have direct access to me via the Discord, a special members only section that they can make sure that they can ask me anything they need. So again, thank you guys. Whether you're a Wampa tier or on the council, you may not be a master, but you're still granted a special place in my heart. Thank you guys again for supporting this channel. Let's talk about this. So, you got these three areas. Hey, do we focus on trying to get through, the Relic 9 operations, getting an extra star in territory battles and all that comes with it? Should we focus on increasing our raid scores because that's going to give us, better rewards to help us grow? Or should we get, ready for not just Zepho, but some of the other special missions and territory battles? So, let's start with the raid. Now, the big thing here is we'd have to do some Relic 8s as a guild. That everybody would need to increase their score. Like for me, I'd have to do some Relic 8s here on these characters. Now, these are solid characters. All of these are solid characters. Like Hera, a very important character now. And all of them would help me in combat missions and territory battles. They would help me in Grand Arena, Fleet, or, some of them in Fleet Arena. There's some good benefits here. These are all pretty solid characters, not a lot of complaints on my end. The big thing, though, with the raid, right? So that's a good pro. Another pro with the raid is that it has the fastest rate of return, right? Has the potential to be the fastest rate of return. But here's where the cons come in. Number one, for me, as I would work on these characters, my personal score would increase. But if you look, my personal score increases, but I don't get any extra rewards for that until I hit 13.6 million points as an individual. So I need to score almost 3 million more points before I get any benefit from all the relics that I would put on those characters. So that's a long time, right? That's a lot of work to do before I feel any personal rewards. Then on top of that, my guild, we scored over 500 million. So we still need to get to the 660 million box, which is, over 3 million points per player. So that's a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. And it's all or nothing. So there's this other part of the con here that this rate is going to go away at some point. So not only is the amount of rewards we get going to be constricted by the amount of time that this raid has left, but also how long it's going to take us to reach there, that we can't just flick a switch and get 160 million more points. We'd have to work on that. And so if we targeted a completion date, I think it was April, is where we'd have to kind of target in order to make back our currency and then some. Because as time would progress, if we miss that, you could potentially put your guild in a situation where we did all these upgrades for this raid and we're not going to end up making the currency back that we spent to get there. And that's a big issue, right? That would be a big problem. Another con that I would look at is, take for example TK421 here with 15 million points. Is asking him to get 3 million more score as fair as asking somebody like me scoring 10 million points? Like, he'd look at me and say, Phil, it's far easier for you to score 3 million more points than me. And then I would be like, well, and I'm just going to come down here to one of my buddies, Celeste Lake, dude, you should be able to, I have to score 3 million, you should be able to get 4 or whatever. And again, this is exactly what would happen is the guild would kind of bicker and argue that, well, it's not fair to ask somebody scoring 15 million already to get 3 million more points. But you want to try and, be together. And that was one of the other things that we brought up is what happens if people are slacking in the raid and we're missing that box, they're going to get called out, and it could be a toxic environment, right? We fully recognize that, and that's not a bad thing to say. We're being honest, right? I would be furious if I'm doing Relic 8s for the, raid, and I'm watching somebody take their Malicos to Relic 8. I would lose my mind. So, again, Pro to the raid, quickest rate of return, very good characters. Cons is that it's time constricted, and that once it goes away, those characters, yeah, they might help in other game modes, but we need to now prepare for the next one and spend more resources. So we've got to look at that. Now let's talk about territory battle stars. Going for more stars. Now, to do this, we'd really need to do some extra Relic 9s for operations. And this is a big deal because Relic 9s are not cheap. Obviously, they're not cheap. It takes a lot to get to Relic 9 operations. And I just put a couple of the characters here, like Snowtrooper and Wampa for me would probably be ones where I would volunteer because I don't want somebody to take their Relic 5 Wampa to Relic 9 when I can just take him from Relic 8 to Relic 9. Like, save the guild resources to say, I've already got this character here. Same with Snowtrooper. Why would I make somebody go from Relic 5 to Relic 9 when I could just bump him to Relic 9 because I've already invested those resources? We need to be smart as a guild, and that's something that we work to do. So, like, I have these guys here. But you look, these Relic 9s are not really going to help me, right? If we're completely honest here, these Relic 9s are not going to help anyone. You know, I mean, Relic 9 King would help, but Snowtrooper, Boba Fett, Silent Django, they're not characters that are really good. And there's some operations that have very good characters there, but they go quickly. And then there's ones that have trash characters. So you've got to take that with a grain of salt. Now, if I go into territory battles, just to show you something, the Relic 9 operations have to get done at some point. That eventually my guild is going to want to get to the Ring of Kafrene and start competing on Vandor and over on Malachor. Like, eventually we have to do these things. You know, so at some point in time, this has to happen. So it's just getting there sooner, just pushing us to that point sooner. In terms of investment, this is a very smart decision because long term, it's going to have to happen at some point. So we're just getting there a little bit earlier. And that would set us up nicely that we have these things done for a long time, that now we can really start saving these Relic 9s, that you don't need to think about the eventuality that, hey, I'm spending these Relic 9s to get the next big fleet. Oh, I've got to think about operations too. Like, we've got them out of the way, start saving. Now, cons here, again, as I said, you know, some of the characters you have to upgrade here are pretty garbage. But the other thing is that territory battle rewards are, again, similar to the raid, all or nothing. In that when you look at the rewards for Rise of the Empire, and I'm just using Rise of the Empire, guys, same thing with any Geonosius, anything else you guys do here. But my guild right now, we're getting 37 stars. So if we squeeze out a single more star, we still would get the same reward box, right? This T5-14. So we'd still get the same reward box. We'd get 25 more crystals and 150 more guild event currency 3. So not a big jump for that work. Now, again, we have to do it at some point, but you see that here. There's not a lot of extra rewards that we're getting at this point. To jump up to 39 stars, we'd get 50 more crystals, which is nice. 300 more get 3, right? That's a good jump. But we also get a better reward box at that point, right? You get this, you know, T5-13. So we do get a better reward box, are going to get more gear, better rewards. That's solid, right? So we need 2 more stars to really feel that impact. What happens if we miss or, you know, something like that happens? It's all or nothing. We're back down to here or potentially even here. Again, there's no rewards along the way either. So it's all or nothing. You don't get a progress because you were 10 million points away from, you know, 38 or 39 stars. They don't care. So that is a big thing, right? Now, the pro being you have to do this at some point. So we could get it out of the way early, especially for a lot of us where we have a lot of those characters who require the Relic 8s and the Relic 9s. We kind of have that flexibility for a lot of us right now. So that is a good thing here. And again, territory battles is sticking around for a long time. So investing in territory battles, there's not a time constraint on it, right? It's just going on until this game dies. So it's a solid investment choice from that regard. And then finally, what about if we focused on special missions for territory battles? Instead of saying, hey, let's get extra stars, let's focus on maybe getting some special missions done. And this, I think, has, in my opinion, this is the choice that I think is the smartest for the guild. And I'm going to explain why, right? I'm going to show you guys why I think this is. So let's start in territory battles here. So on Corellia, we have this mission, 15 guild event currency 1 if you have a Relic 5, Kira and Han Solo and complete it. So now we only had 4 people actually complete this with 6 attempts. So we don't have a lot of people with these characters. But we still got 60 currency here. So over a period of time, that's going to add up, give us more stuff. Now, that's not a lot, but it's better than zero. We got, hey, okay, we didn't get the full 6, but we at least got 4 of them. We still got rewards. There's still this like progress to it. And let's flip over to Baraka, where you have the mission here with Seer and then any Cal Kestis at Relic 7. You need to complete that mission 30 times to get to Zepho. But regardless, all of your successful attempts will get you guild event currency to here. So even if you get 29 attempts there, even if you get 29 successful attempts, you're still getting over 1,000. You're going to get what, like 1,450, I think 1,450 get to, which is solid. That's still a good bit of rewards there, right? That's not anything to sneeze at. That's a good bit of rewards. That's some nice Chirotech in your back pocket there. But if you get to 30, you not only get the get to, but you also open up Zepho, which again has another special mission for clone troopers at Relic 7. But the rewards for Zepho, at 144 million points, you get 20 laptops and 150 get 3. At the 230 box, you get 20 of the Shock Prod Chirotechs and 300 get 3. So now you're at 450 get 3 and 40 total Chirotech. And then at 287 million, you get an additional star. So now we've opened up this extra zone. We can get an additional star. We can get all these extra Chirotechs and stuff. This is pretty solid here. You continue over then to Kashyyyk, where there's another Get 2 mission with Saw Gerrera and Rebel Fighters. The reason I'm calling this one out is because I have 3 Rebel Fighters already at Relic 7, between Drogon, Captain Rex, and then Cassian's Relic 8, but all from Leia and then Profundity for Cassian. So I'm 60% of the way to this special mission without ever having trying to farm it. So now, getting Saw Gerrera to Relic 7 doesn't seem that bad, knowing that I'm going to be able to earn my guild extra currency, which is going to help us, continue to progress our accounts, extra rewards along that way. And again, this is not it's all or nothing for me personally, but maybe I fail and the rest of the guild succeeds, we all get the rewards. And there's plenty of these. Like, you look at the one for Night Sisters here on Dathomir, and where I kind of knock this one back a bit is, like, I don't have a single Night Sister at Relic 7. So it's a lot of investment to get here compared to looking at this one and saying, hey, I could get here with, 60% of the way just through requirements from other farms. And then finally, guys, there's other special missions, but the one I really want to cover here is the Inquisitor mission. So this is for Guild Event Currency 3, and it's 5 Relic 8s. And I know all of you just balked at that, and I myself am like, I can't believe I'm saying this. But if your guild is able to get here, and you could convince people to do 5 Relic 8s on their Inquisitors. Number one, they're a great faction with Reva. Relic 8 helps them all be better, right? The ones that you would use here, all better. You think. The other thing here is that you can now use them in combat missions up to this point and, on other planets where Relic 8 is required. It's going to help your guild get more points. But get 3. You already have these guys at Relic 7. You're already going to have them at Relic 7. Reva, it depends where you end up taking her, but you think you're going to have Inquisitors at Relic 7. So it's not this big jump. It's not this huge ask of, hey, you've got to go relic all these characters and then you got to take them Relic 8. You're going to have them at Relic 7 already to get to the Reva mission itself. So asking them to go to Relic 8 is not this big ask. It's not this, what I would say, huge deal. Now, that said, I'm not saying you go and push for that, but for guilds in a position similar to ours where you're looking at these areas and saying, where can we increase rewards without having to spend massive amounts of resources? Like, 5 Relic 8s for a lot of us is not a big deal. In the grand scheme of this game, that's not a huge deal for a lot of us. Like, I did Lord Vader where there's 4. You did Leviathan where I'd argue it's harder to do than 5 Relic 8s. So that could be another big option to think about for guilds as you progress in the game. Now, that said, there are cons here. So number one, you think if you're looking at the Corellia mission, like, you're not really going to use Kira and Young Han anywhere else a lot of times, right? That's not helping you. You think, in the reality, you don't need Saw Gerrera at Relic 7, and you don't need Cara Dune at Relic 7 to do anything in this game. But, getting you extra rewards there. Think of the Inquisitors at Relic 8, like, that's a big one, but again, you're probably going to want them at Relic 8 anyway for combat missions and later on down the line, but that is a lot of investment. I'm not saying it's not a lot of investment, but it's something a lot of us have gone and already done in terms of other farms. And then you think of like the one on Kessel here, Kira and L3 to Relic 8. I mean, again, there's a lot of investment there, but it's something that as guilds, you need to start thinking about that and saying, I think this is more beneficial to us. Because you look, if we can get even, say, 8 people to complete, just say it's 8 people to complete this mission, that's as many points as it is to get an extra star. So you tell me that 8 people take their Kira and L3 to Relic 8 and successfully complete this mission is harder than getting 50 players to do R9 operations for the Ring of Khafreen to up our rewards a little bit more. Like, this is far more valuable to the guild because it's an easy way to increase your currency without having to put in crazy amounts of effort to get to these Relic 9 operations. And I think that's where we should head. Because again, look at it from the full body of work. To do a Relic 9 is 2 Relic 8s. So if I have to do 2 Relic 9s for the Ring of Khafreen to complete operations, right there is the equivalent of 4 Relic 8s. So I'm almost at the point where I could get Inquisitors. Or I can do Kira and L3 and still have 2 Relic 8s in my pocket. So, again, guys, I've been rambling for a while. Let me know what your thoughts are, but do you see this kind of pros and cons that, yes, it's a lot more resources to invest. You're maybe only getting Get 2, which helps you get Kyratex, but if you can get to some of these where there's Get 3, you're increasing your relic materials. And I think that as a guild, it's smarter to kind of focus on these areas where there's Get 3 with those special missions, because getting to those additional stars is so much harder than saying, hey, everybody go build Jedi Knight Cal and Seer Jundo, or even Baby Cal. Like, I'm going to be doing the Baraka mission here. I'm wholeheartedly going to attempt this with Baby Cal. I've decided that I'm going to just do it with Baby Cal. I'm going to relic him up here to Relic 7 because I need to get there, right? So if I go here, if I go to my unit, of course, Ari has to chime in. Like, if I get here, I'm going to take this guy to Relic 7. In fact, if you're still watching, I'm going to do it right now because I'm planning to do this mission for my guild. I think it's important that I do these things. So, man, like, I can't believe I'm doing another Relic 7. I feel like I've been doing all these on tape for you guys. But there we go. Cal cast this Relic 7 because I think it's important for my guild to try and get to Baraka, try and earn as many rewards as we can. Like and subscribe, guys. Let me know your thoughts. I love all you. May the Force be with you, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.